تفضل دكتور.
طيب، بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. And inshallah we'll resuming or continuing our journey with in the Quran. This treasure that we have, that we're not really leveraging it because of many reasons that we discussed before, and that it is about time to fix. If we really want a real solution, I mean, not patchwork, this is one of the key to the reform that is needed and the solutions to the situation of Muslims across the world, is to refresh their understanding of Islam or rediscover it, and to embark on a journey of studying the Quran. Very few people do it, unfortunately, and if even those who do it, they don't do it consistently or regularly. We all know that the relationship with the Quran of the majority of Muslim is weak. For many, it is inexistent. For some, it is occasional, and every now and then. And for those who have a relationship with the Quran, they may have a good relationship in terms of there is a relationship with the Quran, but a lot of time it's done the wrong way and very inefficient. When people focus on reading and memorizing and learning the rules of tajweed, and they ignore the most important thing, which is to understand and implement. This is a book that was meant to build the individual and the community for a mission. So it's full of guidance and awareness, educating Muslims, those who embrace this mission, educating them about this mission, educating them about the environment in which they are engaged, so that they know how to engage efficiently, which tells you clearly that this mission of Islam is about civic engagement. It's about engaging your environment, whether you are an individual or you are a community, because that's why the Quran focuses on the environment, focuses on what's going on in the environment, and educate Muslim about problems, challenges, opportunities, and about ways to effectively engage this environment. This particular surah of Ali Imran is full of this, of describing the environment in which Muslims are fulfilling their mission, the entourage, and telling them what is there in terms of challenges and how to engage that environment and how to deal with those challenges and how to be prepared. That tells you, that confirms the idea or the fact that the mission of Islam is about Amr bil Ma'ruf wa Nahy anil Munkar, and Amr bil Ma'ruf wa Nahy anil Munkar, which is promoting that which is good and reducing or advocating against that which is evil. It's, for me, you can either define as civic engagement, or you can say safely that it cannot be fulfilled without civic engagement. There is no other way you can fulfill Amr bil Ma'ruf wa Nahy anil Munkar unless you are civically aware and civically engaged, that you know your environment and you are engaging that environment. So either you can translate it directly as a civic engagement, or it requires civic engagement, and we know the rule that says ما لا يتم الواجب إلا به صار واجبا. If there is a duty that requires a certain action, that action becomes a duty also. That action becomes a duty and obligation, just because it is required or is a condition for another duty. ما لا يتم الواجب إلا به صار واجبا. So you can see telling them all the tricks. Of course, we may face different challenges, but the Quran is a book of guidance. So it's telling us basically you have to do the same thing with your environment. You have to study your environment to understand it, to see what are the challenges that this environment puts in your plate, and what are the opportunities there, and how best you engage. So that's how we should understand the Quran and the Sunnah of Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. As I said many times, we should be not copying the seerah of Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, doing exactly what he did. That's in terms of ibadat and akhlaq. But when in terms of fulfilling the mission of Islam, it's basically to try to imagine if Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was here and now, how he would have proceeded. Simulation, as they call it in science, more than duplication. It's a simulation and of the prophetic model to your environment. And that requires an in-depth study of the personality of Rasul and his life, so that you can do that simulation. Same thing with the Quran. You have to have that in-depth understanding so that you can leverage the Quran fully. Now, when I read Surah Ali Imran and I see it all mostly talking about the environment in which Muslims are fulfilling that mission and exposing that environment and directing them how to deal with it, that tells me that Muslims, wherever they are in any context, should be doing the same thing. You don't wait for revelations, because there is no revelation to tell you about the environment in United States or in any context you find yourself in. There is no revelation. Quran will not tell you about that. That's your job. But Quran is a book of guidance, is directing you that because your mission requires, it's about engaging the environment to fix it and to reform it, to improve it, and to increase or promote the greater good. Therefore, you have to know it and be fully aware of it and fully engaged. So we reached the verse of Ibrahim alayhi salam, which is as you can see in most Surah Al Imran, in many other surahs, this calling the people of the book, that's by the way, it's a compliment and it's embarrassment at the same time. I mean, it's basically making it easier for them to come to accept this message. Ya Ahl Kitab, you are the people of the book, and this is a book that came from the same source and with the same teachings. So making it easier for them, and then putting them on the spot that basically you should be the first ones to believe in this book more than the illiterate. So you can see a lot of Ya Ahl al-Kitab, Ya Ahl al-Kitabi being repeated. We are at verse 65. We're done last time with that تعالوا إلى كلمة سواء بيننا وبينكم. We spent quite some time on ألا نعبد إلا الله, that this religion is a religion that comes to free people from anything. Why? Because when you worship Allah and you worship Allah alone, you will be someone who's free. Nobody can enslave you, because at the end of the day, it is either worshiping Allah or worshiping someone else. Because whether you are someone who's obsessed with money or with fame or with desires or whatever, you're going to end up enslaved by somebody at certain point or in somewhere. But when ألا نعبد إلا الله, that's again يضع عنكم إصركم والأغلال التي كانت عليكم. These messengers come with a message that free people and make them free their minds and free their willpower from anything that is weaken them or keep them or pull them back or hold them down. Verse 65 يا أهل الكتاب لما تحاجون في إبراهيم وما أنزلت التوراة والإنجيل إلا من بعده أفلا تعقلون. This tells you that how silly sometimes these arguments that people put in front of Muslims, and Quran sometimes also Quran responds in a very strong language. I mean, Ibrahim came before you. I mean, how can you call Ibrahim Jew or Christian? Yeah. When Ibrahim was around, there was no Judaism and there was no Christianity. So it's really sarcastic. And the tone here is it's people of the book, why do you argue about Abraham when the Torah and the Gospels were not revealed until after his time? أفلا تعقلون أفلا تعقلون. Do you not understand? So this is basically telling Muslims how to respond. So it's yes, Quran has different styles, direct and indirect, but this is empowering Muslims, because keep in mind that until this message was revealed, the people of the book were, like, when it comes to matter of knowledge and religion, they were superior, and the Arabs accepted that. They accepted this idea that these people, they know better, and you expect companions to be intimidated and to be shaken sometimes by all these it's string of waves after waves of trying to shake the Muslims' beliefs from all angles. And Quran always revealed to strengthen Muslims and make them steadfast and to empower them with the tools to answer these all these false accusations. ها أنتم جادلتم فيما لكم به علم. طيب فلما تحاجون فيما ليس لكم به علم والله يعلم وأنتم لا تعلمون. Again, it's a very very intimidating language. طيب you allowed yourself, let's read the translation exactly. You argue about some things of which you have some knowledge. I mean, you are discussing Jesus and the birth and fine. This is something that you had it in your books, and so you were arguing about things that you may have some knowledge about. But of which you, but why do you argue about things of which you have you know nothing? And who told you what Ibrahim alayhi salam or anything? So أنتم جادلتم حاججتم فيما لكم بعلم فلما تحاجون فيما ليس لكم بعلم, and then injecting an injection of tawheed there. والله يعلم وأنتم لا تعلمون. Again, the Quran is a book of tawheed. The Quran, its main goal and purpose and objective is to establish that and maintain and strengthen that relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our relationship of each one of us with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to push it in the direction of love so that you become very motivated and very excited obeying Allah and worshiping and serving His cause and advancing His cause, and you get out of this passing grade that you are a Muslim who is looking for. What is a passing grade? Is a C a passing grade? Okay, I'd like C. We get out of this mindset of what is the minimum? The minimum, what is the minimum so that I will not be thrown in hellfire? You move from that state to the state of what is the best? How best can I serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and meet His expectation and make Him and pursue His good pleasure? So Wallahu ya'lam. That's why you see, even in any discussion, in any context, you find the verses ends with the names and attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you find always some injection and dose of tawheed, because that's what the Quran is about. Wallahu ya'lamu وأنتم لا تعلمون. Allah, God knows and you do not. ما كان إبراهيم يهوديا ولا نصرانيا. He cannot be Jew or Christian. I mean, he was before, يعني preceded this. ولكن كان حنيفا مسلما وما كان من المشركين. ما كان إبراهيم يهوديا ولا نصرانيا ولكن كان حنيفا مسلما وما كان من المشركين. We're going to stop, inshallah, and elaborate on this. Abraham was neither a Jew nor a Christian. That's obvious. He was upright and devoted to God, Allah, never an idolater, and the people who are no, never ما كان من المشركين. طيب. حنيفا مسلما, that can be strange. And Quran in the same verse say he was not a Jew or Christian and then say he's a Muslim. The common understanding is Islam came with Muhammad. Yeah. So if Ibrahim alayhi salam could not be Jew or Christian, cannot be Muslim either. But the Quran on purpose here tried to emphasize that understanding that Islam is not the religion that was new. It's not a new religion that was brought by Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is the religion. It is the religion of submission, of Tawheed and oneness of Allah and submission to Allah. And that is the message of all messengers, which is especially the most common theme was the belief in Allah and in the hereafter. That was all the messages and all the messengers. So, لكن كان حنيفا مسلما. And that's really the eloquence of Quran. It's an amazing. In the same verse, say he could not be Jew or Christian, but he was a Muslim. Even though you may find it strange. I mean, if he could not be Jew or Christian because he was preceding this, so how could he be Muslim? But no, he was a Muslim because that's a religion from Adam till the day of judgment. It's called Islam, which means submission to Allah, surrendering, and your will, your personal will, by choice, you surrender it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you move or you change from someone who is living for himself or herself to someone who's living for Allah and His cause. That's the idea of Islam that was lost, and it was replaced by these sha'air or rituals that Islam is do this and this and this and then abstain from this and this and you're fine. No, Islam is that commitment, dedication to pledge your life and yourself to figure out, to understand, to comprehend, and fulfill the purpose of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even though yesterday, before you became a Muslim, you were someone who is living for yourself, basically doing whatever you like, and abstain from whatever you don't like. Now you're moving to what is expected from me, what is assigned to me, what gets me closer to Allah and to His good pleasure. Major transformation that we have seen with every companions. That's what should happen with every Muslim. That's exactly the same transformation. But unfortunately, the majority of Muslims, whether those who were born Muslims or those who embraced Islam, most of us came from the wrong door, because we came from this short list of do's and don'ts, and we came from Islam with no real spirituality, with limited knowledge of Allah, with limited motivation to learn, with limited motivation or no motivation to improve and to serve. And then the whole idea was about that there is a certain things that you need to do so that Allah does not punish you. That's what we are communicating to our children, by the way. Whether we are realizing or not, that's what we're communicating. That's the message that our children are getting, is that there is God who is wants to punish you, and there are things that you do, if you do them, you will avoid that. So make sure that you pray. I mean, it doesn't matter, you pray, you concentrate, you don't concentrate, you just pray and fast and etc., so that you will not be thrown in hellfire. I mean, how much damage and mutilation we did to this great, inspiring and empowering religion, to reduce it to few tasks, that routine that you do them, so that you will not be thrown in hellfire. Inna awla nasi, this is also a very strong statement here and principle. إن أولى الناس بإبراهيم للذين اتبعوه وهذا النبي والذين آمنوا والله ولي المؤمنين. إن أولى الناس بإبراهيم. Ibrahim is not somebody you inherit because he was your father or forefather or ancestor. Ibrahim is someone with a mission and message. You take that message, you belong to Ibrahim. You don't belong to him. So it's a very, because keep in mind the chosen people, and keep in mind nowadays how some Muslims, they think because they are Muslims and claim they are followers of Muhammad sallallahu, so things will work out for them in this life and the hereafter. This verse is telling them no. Abraham was and the people who are closest to him are those who truly follow his way. This is unique. Islam, it's a mission that you embrace. It's not an identity. It's not an ethnicity. We turned into ethnicity because we mixed with the backward culture. So we turned into ethnicity. So now in the United States, or in many places, it's perceived as foreign religion. Why? Because it's packaged with a foreign culture. We are not promoting the pure message of Islam, decoupled from culture so that it can be coupled with the indigenous culture here, but we're promoting a message of Islam that is mixed with the foreign culture, or with the culture that, and that's why it's very hard. Actually, we're finding hard time selling it to our children. Never mind to anybody else. Those who follow his way, his ways, and then this prophet and the true believers, those who amanu. So this is important. It's not you belong to Muhammad because you were born in Mecca or Medina, or you were born in anywhere in a Muslim land or Muslim country. No. It has nothing to do. And it's not, it's if wherever you're born, whatever your identity, whatever your ethnicity, whatever your race, whatever anything, this is a mission that is presented to you. You embraced, you are a Muslim, and you belong to that, not chosen people. There is no chosen people. There are people who are assigned this role, and when they fulfill it, they get that special status. That's why, as we come later, maybe next time, inshallah, كنتم خير أمة أخرجت الناس تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر وتؤمنون بالله. That when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that you are the best community, quickly, even before talking about believing in Allah, said تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر. And I see it, and then you believe in, and because you believe in Allah. And I see two lessons from here. One is, before you go very far, or you go far to think that because you are a Muslim then you are better than others. No. It's because of this task or job. Whoever does fulfill this job, they qualify with that, for that status. And then putting Amr bil Ma'ruf wa Nahy anil Munkar before even believe in Allah, which is, we know that believing in Allah is more important, but as if the verse is saying that this is the product and this is the roots, or this is the origin. If there is no Amr bil Ma'ruf wa Nahy anil Munkar, promoting that which is good, and if you don't fulfill the mission, then you have to check, you have to double check your belief, or to question your belief, because the true belief should produce this. So put the product first, and put it immediately after telling you that you are the best nation, so that you don't think that it is it's a birthright. No, it's a mission that when you fulfill it, understand it, and fulfill it, will make you part of that selected or best community. And then putting it before belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's because it was mentioned also in Surah Tawbah. Putting Amr Ma'ruf and Nahy Munkar ahead. والمؤمنون والمؤمنات بعضهم أولياء بعض يأمرون بالمعروف وينهون عن المنكر ويقيمون الصلاة ويؤتون الزكاة. Was put before prayer in the description of believing man and woman. Amr Ma'ruf and Nahy Munkar put before prayer, and here is what even put later on, we'll see it, inshallah, put even before belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wallahu ولي المؤمنين. Another injection, another of Tawheed. Allah wali al-mu'mineen. This is, remember I said Quran is there to strengthen Muslims, to make them more confident that Allah is on their side. You have nothing to fear. God, Allah is close to true believers. Wallahu wali. This wali, it's one of the dua that I strongly recommend to always ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is part of the dua al-qunut. وتولنا في من توليت. وتولنا في من توليت. اهدنا في من هديت وعافنا في من عافيت وتولنا في من توليت. It's asking Allah to be your protector, basically, which is a very, it's a big prize if we achieve it. If you can achieve it, if you get Allah, Allahu waliyyu alladhina amanu. It was repeated in more than one place in Quran. In Surah Al-Baqarah, of course, Ayat Al-Kursi, in Surah Al-Araf. So in more than one place, this wali, Allahu waliyyu al-mu'minina or waliyyu alladhina amanu. It's like the love of Allah. Like Allah loves you. That's a big achievement. That's an ultimate prize. Yeah. It starts by getting to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The more you know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the more you love him. The more you love him, the more you become motivated and excited to serve and worship. And it's a synergetic cycle. And even know him more and get closer to him. And then you keep doing that until Allah loves you. لا يزال عبدي يتقرب إلي بالنوافل حتى أحبه. Of course, when you reach that level, of course, you need to try to stay there, but that's the ultimate prize of the believer. وَدَّ طَائِفَةٌ مِّنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ لَوْ يُضِلُّونَكُمْ. This is talking to Muslims about the environment. You have to be aware that's what's going on. وَدَّ طَائِفَةٌ مِّنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ لَوْ يُضِلُّونَكُمْ وَمَا يُضِلُّونَ إِلَّا أَنفُسَهُمْ وَمَا يَشْعُرُونَ. The first part is raising the awareness. The second part is comforting Muslim. This is not something that you should be afraid about. You have to be aware of it. وَدَّ طَائِفَةٌ مِّنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ لَوْ يُضِلُّونَكُمْ. Some of the people of the book would dearly love to lead you astray. You're gonna have to be aware. You're not in a society of angels. You're in Medina, and there are groups who are conspiring, and you have to be aware of this. وَدَّ طَائِفَةٌ مِّنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ لَوْ يُضِلُّونَكُمْ. And look at the Quran, how precise and fair. Didn't say all of them. وَدَّ طَائِفَةٌ, some people, and we'll see this later on, how accurate Quran. I mean, it was fair even with خمر يعني and ميسر يعني. فيهما إثم كبير ومنافع للناس وإثمهما أكبر من نفعهما. To teach us that if Allah and Quran is so precise and fair, even with the people who are conspiring and saying not all of them, only part. So no generalization and no stereotyping. وَدَّ طَائِفَةٌ مِّنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ. Some of the people of the book would dearly love to lead you astray. That's the first part. You're going to have to be aware of it. But the second part, but they only lead themselves astray, though they do not realize it. Keep in mind, Muslims, they had that inferiority complex when it comes to religion, Arabs at that time. When it comes to religion, towards vis-a-vis the people of the book. So they take it seriously. They take those challenges and campaigns of doubting or shaking the beliefs of Muslim. Arabs at that time, when you fresh Muslim, they were taking this, that's serious for them, because they were looking up at the people of the book in terms of when it comes to religion. So when I said, don't worry. Yes, they're going to try to do that, but they as long as you stick to this guidance, you have nothing to fear. Coming back to talking to, and that's the beauty of Quran and the eloquence. It's a direct and indirect. لو يضلونكم, it was addressing Muslim. Now comes back, يا أهل الكتاب. And that's something that so hard to do يعني, and impossible يعني, to match the eloquence البلاغة of the Quran يعني, of course. Yeah, that's not me saying this. That's Arabs at that time, the masters of the Arabic language. They realized that this is not something that can be made up by human. That's something else. As Al-Mughira, Abu al-Walid, when he talked to Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and came back to his people, and he was one of the top expert yani, in Arabic language and master, told them, we know the Arabic, the language inside out. That's not something that we have ever seen. That's a different level. يا أهل الكتاب لما تكفرون بآيات الله وأنتم تشهدون. يا أهل الكتاب لما تكفرون بآيات الله وأنتم تشهدون. Again, it's putting them in the spot, or putting them in spot is not in a negative way. When you start by Ahl al-Kitabi, is basically you shouldn't be like others. You already know, and you are followers of this same religion that which was just and superseded by the message of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. People of the book, why do you deny Allah's revelation when you can see they are true? By the way, they had no doubt that it is true. Both the leaders of Quraysh and the leaders of the Jewish tribes in Medina, both of them had no doubt whatsoever that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was a messenger and his message is true. And the evidence are there. Abu Jahl said it. First of all, Mughira is one of the top leaders of Quraysh and came back and say that's not a human thing, that's something else. And Abu Jahl made it clear, said that our problem with Muhammad is not an issue of it's not. He said that we and Banu Hashim, we were competing for prestige in Mecca, and we were really, competition was very hot. We were so close together. And then they come up and say, we have a prophet was sent from us. How can we compete with that? So it was never an issue of believing. So it's an issue of eliminating those privileges, eliminating abuse, establishing justice, eliminating slavery, that was the issue. And the business that was built around the Asnam, it's not about the idols themselves. It's a network of interests and business and privileges was built around this. And then this message is coming and saying everybody is equal. So that was, and then the story of that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ's wife narrated that she heard, she's a Jew from the Jewish tribe, and for the daughter of one of the leaders of the Jewish tribes in Medina. She heard her father and another leader too talking after they met Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam came to Medina. These top leaders, they went there and met him. And then they came back and she overheard them talking. He's asked, Huwa huwa? He said, Huwa huwa. One of them asked, is this the one? And the other said, yes, he's the one. This is exactly the messenger that we know he's coming. So there was no doubt. And it was even confirmed with the story of Abdullah ibn Salam. Abdullah ibn Salam is one of the most knowledgeable people of Jewish people in Medina. And Abdullah ibn Salam, he realized this is it. That's what we were expecting. These are all the signs and everything. So he embraced Islam. So he agreed with the Rasul to conceal his iman or his conversion. And then they invited some Jewish leaders of the Medina at that time, and Abdullah ibn Salam was hiding the back. So Rasul asked these, say, what is the status of Abdullah ibn Salam amongst you? What is your impression? Say, he is our scholar. He's our top scholar and he's the most knowledgeable among us. So Abdullah ibn Salam came out and told them, okay, and we know that this is it. This is the messenger that we were expecting. And then when they heard this, they start talking badly about Abdullah ibn Salam, that he's ignorant and doesn't know anything and stupid and everything. But it was just a couple of minutes ago, he was the most knowledgeable and the top scholar. So it's not وأنتم تشهدون لما تكفرون بآيات الله وأنتم تشهدون. Why you reject something that you know it is true. وجحدوا بها واستيقنتها أنفسهم ظلما وعلوا. They rejected it even though they know inside that it is true. Why? Out of arrogance. ظلما وعلوا. Again, يا أهل الكتاب لما تلبسون الحق بالباطل وتكتمون الحق وأنتم تعلمون. يا أهل الكتاب لما تلبسون الحق بالباطل وتكتمون الحق وأنتم تعلمون. People of the book, why do you mix truth with falsehood? Why do you hide the truth when you recognize it? That's important. Why you hide the truth when you recognize it? People of the book, why you hide the truth when you recognize it? طيب تلبسون الحق بالباطل. That's something that we need all of us to pay attention to. And your brother and sister, lying in Islam, which is one of the worst things to do, lying is very common among Muslims, unfortunately. Very common, mostly out of misunderstanding. Because for many people, lying means fabricating something. No, that's rarely the case. That you make up something, no. Lying, exaggeration is lying. Anything that will mislead the other person is a form of lying. So if you take a story and you exaggerate some parts and you reduce it, and you play with it, and then you push the person in the wrong direction, that's lying. That's a form of lying, or tadlis or talbis or anything. Now, mixing truth with falsehood is lying. Half-truth is lying. Half-truth means that you don't lie. You don't fabricate anything. There is a story. You take a piece of it and you throw it out. So the person will go in the wrong direction completely, as opposed to the direction they will go to, or the conclusion or the impression they will have if they get the full story. So half-truth is lying. This is تلبسون الحق بالباطل. Which we commit, unfortunately, very frequently. Which is, we say a lot of things that are true, but we mix them. We put our flavors in it, or our spices. And that's very bad. And I'd like to encourage all of us to be very, very careful when you narrate something. This is very serious business. Remember the verses in Surah Al-Hujurat, and then the verses in Surah An-Nur. Surah An-Nur, that disaster that happens in the Muslim community, prophetic community, for a whole month, when the Prophet's wives and Abu Bakr Siddiq's daughter was accused with a very heinous crime, and the whole community was in turmoil. It was because of hearsay. It was because the first person did not ascertain the truth, did not block it there, did not say, where, when, how, why, etc. What's your evidence? What are your witnesses? Didn't do his job, so he was hearsay. تلقونه بألسنتكم وتقولون بأفواهكم ما ليس لكم بعلم وتحسبونه هينا وهو عند الله عظيم. And I strongly recommend that you read second page of Surah An-Nur and you read Surah Al-Hujurat. You're gonna have to be very careful about what you say. And if you're not sure, just keep quiet. It's always better to keep quiet. When I talk, I'm gonna have to be very, very careful. Ghiba, because there is a lot of, it's like walking in a landmine. You have to be very careful. There is a lying here, there is backbiting here, there is slander namima there, there's so many problems that you can commit with your tongue with no effort. The easiest and the worst and the easiest sins, unfortunately, are the ones that we commit with our tongue with no effort. So تلبسون الحق بالباطل. And I strongly recommend that not only to be careful, first of all, be careful about what you put some good filters on your ears. Don't allow anybody to inject anything on, and that applies to your eyes, applies to surfing social media, applies to, so nowadays, because we receive information in so many ways, it's no longer someone talking to you, or only someone talking to you. So be careful about what you receive, because remember, these are all channels to your heart. And if you don't install those good filters, your heart will be spoiled. Yeah. So be careful about what you receive or what you let in terms of information, and establish for yourself a reputation in your environment that this is someone who does not want vain talk, and is not easy to accept rumors. Will give you a hard time. And then if you lie to him once, maybe he will never, you will never have any credibility with him. That's the kind of reputation that we need to establish in our environment, so that people will think 100 times before coming to you with something that is doubtful. Yeah. And the same thing applies to your social media. About any source that you're not sure about, just eliminate it. So that you don't confuse yourself and corrupt your mind and your heart. And this is something that is hard. This is what the media does all the time, which is probably the most subtle way of lying, which is mixing facts with opinion. And that's something that we all do all the time. If we don't pay attention, when we say something, we usually mix facts with opinion, and that's misleading, period. So train yourself. Let us all train ourselves when we talk to say, these are the facts. Now I'm going to give you my opinion about it, if you want it. But don't put them in one package. Don't package them together, because that's misleading. Because the person may think that your opinion is part of the facts. No, that's exactly what happened, what I saw. That's if it is useful to say it. Yani. That's what happened. Let me tell you what I concluded, or what are my observation, or what is my opinion of this, etc. That's a beautiful exercise that we do if we train ourselves on it. So لما تلبسون الحق بالباطل وتكتمون الحق وأنتم تعلمون. You mix truth with falsehood, and you conceal truth while you know. This applies to like the stories we mentioned. People of the book, why do you mix truth with falsehood? Why do you hide the truth when you recognize? Make sure that when you know something and hiding it may affect somebody negatively, ولا تكتموا الشهادة. Make sure you don't do it. ولا تكتموا الشهادة ومن يكتمها فإنه آثم قلبه. If there is a form of injustice that is going to happen to a person, and there is an information that you have that can fix things, for correct or save that person, and you don't do it, then you put yourself in trouble. وقالت طائفة من أهل الكتاب, that's another trick. Quran is raising the awareness of Muslims with their environment, which we call it today civic awareness. We call it today civic awareness. It's raising the awareness of Muslims of their environment. وقالت طائفة من أهل الكتاب آمنوا بالذي أنزل على الذين آمنوا وجه النهار واكفروا آخره لعلهم يرجعون. This is raising the awareness of Muslims about another trick. Again, طائفة, not all of them. Some of the people of the book would what is it? Some of the people of the book at the beginning of the day, some of the people of the book say at the beginning of the day, believe in what has been revealed to these believers, to the Muslims. Yeah. Then at the end of the day, rejected, so that they too may turn back. Got it? Trick, because these illiterate Arabs, they look up to us in terms of religion. So let's do this. Let's claim that we embraced Islam. And then we come out of it. Why? So that these Arabs, they say, oh, if it was true, then these knowledgeable people of the book will not have left it. Would not have left it. So, آمنوا بالذي أنزل على الذين وجه النهار واكفروا آخره. Of course, it doesn't have to be in the same day, but that's part of the eloquence of the Quran. Meaning, enter Islam and come out of it as part of this campaign and wave of shaking the Muslims' confidence and the Muslim beliefs, so that those who are contemplating to embrace Islam, those illiterate Arabs, will think 100 times, and those who are already Muslim will be shaken by this. I mean, why these people of the book, you are excited, they joined, and then tomorrow they left. And I don't know, I didn't do my any research, but I can see that probably what is called Hadd al-Ridda, which I don't believe in it, like somebody decides to leave Islam, that there is fatwa, or there is an opinion that says that is to be killed. I don't believe in this. And there are very strong evidence for this and very credible scholars who mention this. It might have been associated with these tricks. It's like contextual thing, even if it happened. It was a contextual thing that people are not leaving religion after they embrace, but this is as part of conspiracy, so needed to be stopped. But again, I did not do enough research on this because I'm very comfortable with no compulsion in religion. Those who embrace Islam, ahla wa sahla, welcome, and those who decide to leave it, it's between them and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلَا تُؤْمِنُوا إِلَّا لِمَنْ تَبِعَ دِينَكُمْ. And they said, it's clearly, they're saying that they're doing this so that they can intimidate Muslim or shake their confidence, so that they will do the same. They will follow suit, meaning they will desert Islam also. وَلَا تُؤْمِنُوا إِلَّا لِمَنْ تَبِعَ دِينَكُمْ. قل إن الهدى هدى الله أن يؤتى أحد مثل ما قل إن الهدى هدى الله أن يؤتى أحد مثل ما أوتيتم أو يحاجوكم عند ربكم قل إن الفضل بيد الله يؤتيه من يشاء والله واسع عليم etc. طيب. ولا تؤمنوا إلا لمن تبع دينكم. Still, we're talking about the people of the book talking. But do not sincerely believe in anyone unless he follows your own religion. So basically, pretend. Make sure that you don't do it sincerely. It just we're pretending. But then we're still we're believing in or still sticking to our beliefs. So قل إن الهدى هدى الله أن يؤتى أحد مثل ما أوتيتم أو يحاجوكم عند ربكم. Oh Prophet, tell them true guidance is the guidance of Allah. They say, do not believe that anyone else could be given a revelation similar to what you were given. That's back to the people of the book. Or that they could use it to argue against you in your Lord's presence. So we're talking about, first of all, injecting, oh Prophet, tell them that the true guidance is the guidance of Allah. That's in the Huda, Huda Allah. You can see how Quran injects comforting messages or reinforcement of Tawheed even inside the verse. Inside the verse. قُلْ إِنَّ الْهُدَى هُدَى اللَّهِ. So Muslims should be very comfortable. You are whatever you guidance the follow is the true one. So even if this happens, don't be intimidated. And then comes back to the talking on behalf of the people of the book. أن يؤتى أحد مثل ما أوتيتم أو يحاجوكم عند ربكم. So the problem is what? I mean, don't do it. I mean, we're just pretending. Why we're pretending and why we're not following this new message? Because envy. أن يؤتى أحد مثل ما أوتيتم. And we're not accepting, we're the chosen people, and how come anybody else is going to become, any other nation will receive a message? That's we have monopoly over the أن يؤتى أحد مثل ما أوتيتم أو يحاجوكم عند ربكم. Or they can argue in the presence of your Lord. Make sure that you don't Yeah, it's just pretending so that it will not be used against you on the day of judgment. We are just pretending. So because we don't want God to tell us on the day of judgment that why you embraced and left, we were just pretending, so that these illiterate people will not hold us accountable on the day of judgment. And that's very silly. This is as silly as it can get when in dealing with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And even someone who is naive, you don't deal with him this way. Never mind Allah. That don't do it so that they can not use it against you in the presence of Allah, as if Allah has no idea, no clue about all of this. So they're conspiring and they're implementing, they're executing their conspiracy and make sure that we pretend because we don't want them to use it against us on the day of judgment. And then back to the Prophet. قُلْ إِنَّ الْفَضْلَ بِيَدِ اللَّهِ قُلْ إِنَّ الْفَضْلَ بِيَدِ اللَّهِ يُؤْتِيهِ مَنْ يَشَاءُ وَاللَّهُ وَاسِعٌ عَلِيمٌ. Has nothing to do with you. If you are given this message at one time, it's not, you don't take it for granted. إِنَّ الْفَضْلَ بِيَدِ اللَّهِ. This belongs to Allah. It's an honor. It's an honor that was given to you and the responsibility, and you failed. So it's not, it doesn't become a birthright. قُلْ إِنَّ الْفَضْلَ بِيَدِ اللَّهِ. This is not a religion that belongs to any particular nation or tribe or anything. This is a religion that belongs to Allah, and it says al-fadl, that it is an honor that Allah, so that Muslims have to be thankful. Whoever received this message, they have to be thankful for this honor. Prophet tell them, all grace is in Allah's hands. So this message that you received at a certain point in time, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala now revealed to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it belongs to him, and it is an honor that he grants to whoever he will. He grants it to whoever he will. He gave it to you for a long time. You got the chain of prophets, but it does not make it yours. It still belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so he can remove it, take it from you, and grant it to whoever he will. He is all embracing and all knowing. Of course, whenever you see يؤتيه من يشاء or على كل شيء, etc., that's these transcendent attributes are attributes of Tawheed. Quran does not go more than one verse, rarely, and sometimes even in the same verse more than once, except you find some reinforcement of Tawheed, because it is a book of Tawheed, book of oneness. It's about Allah and about the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the belief in him. Wallahu wasi'un alim, يختص برحمته من يشاء. It's very similar. So this is a mercy from Allah, and every mercy from Allah he granted to whoever he will. يختص برحمته من يشاء والله ذو الفضل العظيم. And he singles out for his mercy whoever he will. لا يسأل عما يفعل. Whoever he will. His grace is infinite. So ولا تؤمن قل إن الفضل, very strong dose of Tawheed. قل إن الفضل بيد الله. Fadla means all of it. All this grace belongs to Allah. يؤتيه من يشاء. So all of it belongs to Allah. And then he grants it to whoever he will. And then he has the power to do that. Wallahu wasi', and the knowledge. Wallahu wasi'un alim. All embracing and all knowing. So he can, and he knows to whom to grant it. And then يختص برحمته من يشاء. Again, he singles out for his mercy whoever he will. والله ذو الفضل العظيم. والله ذو الفضل العظيم. He singles out for his mercy whoever he will. His grace is infinite. These are all, again, very strong reinforcement of Tawheed. It's 1 o'clock, so usually we stop here, and we leave the rest of the time for discussion and questions and comments. as you can see, we are yet to finish the third juz'a, which means the third juz'a, which means 1/10 of the Quran. Everything that we have done so far, we are yet, and even though we go sometimes quickly over some verses, but we are yet to cover 1/10 of the Quran. Questions, comments?
Assalamu alaikum, Dr.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Well, based on the Surah Al Imran, or actually how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describe Ahl al-Kitab, and they claim they are the chosen people, we need to benefit from that, and especially in the West, in America maybe. We build sometimes huge buildings for our community, and it's big masjid, and it has a lot of facilities inside it. And there is two choices: to isolate ourselves in these masjids, and we claim we are the chosen people. خير أمة أخرجت للناس, we are the best. And we need people to convert to Islam, like individually, once a month or once a week or something. And that's it. On the other side, we have the message as Rahmatun lil Alameen. Islam, يعني Rasulullah was sent to the humanity, to the Alameen, to everybody. And our role is not just to transform or make somebody convert from his religion to Islam, is to guide people, to guide ourselves and the humanity to the best, to the betterment of everybody. And I think that's what we need to bridge that area, to close that gap, which is carry the Islam as a message to everybody, not just by converting numbers, because these numbers are in small numbers. And some people convince themselves that, oh, we are the fastest growing religion in the world, and that's it, we are successful. I don't think that's the success. That's what the success that we need. Wallahu a'lam.
Very good point, Yani. It's we're busying ourselves with something that is not our responsibility, which is to convert people and to count and measure our success by conversion, while we are supposed to do something else, which is to be the best ambassadors of religion, of this deen, and to be a mercy to people, to be role models, and to be a mercy to any society in which we're settled. That's what we should busy ourselves with. And then everything will come naturally. If you do that, if you are truly role model and you are very compassionate toward people, exceptionally compassionate, and you have that love of Allah, which will translate into loving people and caring about people, naturally people will be attracted to find out about you and about your religion. Yeah. And that's the best way. The best way to convey this religion is through human copies, because we can print millions of Quran's copies and put them in every room, in hotels' room and everywhere, with all my due respect to anybody who's doing this. But that's not the point, Yan. The point is to make human copies of the Quran who will be walking among people, showing the beauty of the religion, the mercy, and to be true followers of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, meaning that you try to be like him and to be like what he was meant for. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. When you see Muslim individuals and families and community blessing to the neighborhood and blessing to the city and blessing to the state, blessing to the country in which they are settling, that's your job. Yani. Your job to be role models and to promote and maximize your contribution to the greater good and help people around you while you're trying to become a better person, help people around you or uplift people around you to be better people, and work with them to make the society in which you're living a better society. That's all. That's all. Hisab, it's not your job. Conversion is not your job. Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Sahel.
I
I want to add on what brother just said, Brother Ahmed. I remember having a discussion about this, that they claim that the Jews say they're the best chosen people of God, and I came to learn that they're thinking about this is that it's not a matter of pride, but a matter of putting their standard high. Sorry. As a matter of putting their standard high as the chosen people of God in their worship and in their service to others. And when we look at on our side, there's this attitude that my understanding of Islam is more accurate, is more correct, or my school of thought, I'm a Shafi, I'm a Hanbali, I'm the one who's practicing Islam in the correct way. And unfortunately, we see that happening a lot especially in social media, someone asking a question and the opinions that people bring they make it factual. They make people feel like so lost and sinners, or so I think, I don't know, this attitude of I am the best Muslim, I have the best knowledge of Islam. It's it's really a big problem in our community.
Yeah.
And then and then when we look on the other side, our institutions are also not functioning. Like you hear converts saying, like, going to the masjid, we want information, but we don't feel welcome. Also, we don't know, like, we feel confused. Where do you start? So, things like that. So, like, there's a lot that sometimes you're confused. where do we fix this whole issue? So,
Well,
yeah.
at the roots of all of this is a problem that we all have to get rid of it, which is judgmental attitude. That someone will assign or give himself the right or herself to judge others. This has have to be uprooted and eliminated completely from our minds. And we have to accept the fact that take it easy. It's not your job. Allah reserved for himself. إنما عليك البلاغ وعلينا الحساب. إنما exclusively. إنما عليك البلاغ وعلينا الحساب. Unfortunately, the prevalent message among Muslims is the opposite. It's just always categorizing people, who's going to go to hell and who's going to go to heaven, and who has a good Islam and who it doesn't have, and who has a good hijab, who doesn't, and who has a good whatever. And that's ridiculous. I mean, we're going against the teachings of Islam. It's not we are violating, we are going against the teachings of Islam. So at the roots of this, by the way, at the roots of many civil wars, at the roots of a lot of terrorism, is this judgmental attitude. It starts with this. It starts with someone giving himself the right to judge others. So it starts with Muslim and Kafir. And then what should we do with the Kafir? It was not your job to classify him to begin with. Not your job what to do with him. Yeah. So they're going a step ahead. You have to go a step back, because judging him or classifying him was not your job. So this is a kafir. What should we do with the kafir? And then somebody comes and issue fatwa, and somebody else execute him. That's a chain. There is no way to get rid of this except from the roots, that we raise a generation of Muslims who mind their own business, and they forget about inheriting the keys to heaven and hell and deciding and selling the tickets. Yani, every Muslim almost, or many Muslims, are behaving as if they have the tickets. So this, I'm going to give them ticket to heaven, and that's the ticket to hell, or the keys. Their the doorkeeper or gatekeeper, and deciding who's going to go where. Yeah. So that has to be eliminated, because it starts there, and then it gets to the Muslim. Like within Muslim, who is the good Muslim? Who is his Islam or her Islam is not really good? Yani. Who appointed you? And who are you أصلا يعني? Who are you to do this يعني? Just mind yourself, mind your business. أنت focus on your religion. أنت only Allah knows how shaky it is يعني. Just focus on yourself. Focus on your faith, on your worship, on your character, and then make sure that you pass your test. Like they say in Egypt, look at your paper يعني. Don't try to cheat. We are in exam. Everybody looks on their paper. Don't look on my paper. Don't look to my paper because that's mine and yours. And then I'm not gonna look at your paper. So we have to be careful about this and try to eliminate it from the roots, because that's the only way, which is eliminating this judgmental attitude, so that you follow what madhab, you follow whatever faith, you decide how to worship. It's between you and your creator. My job is just to tell you the message that your creator conveyed to you. That's all. And that's not our job only. Was even the job of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's the only job of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. يعني وما أنت عليهم بمسيطر. You just convey the message. Tell them what their creator asks you to convey. And then it is between them and their creator. And that's the nature of the Quran. Quran is full of this. Quran warn people directly. So your job is just to tell them that verse and then leave. It's a major change that has to be done, because it's deeply seated, deeply rooted in the minds of Muslims, this judgmental attitude. We reach a point that where Muslim groups, every Muslim group, they're gonna be saved. Yani. And they introduced this concept of Firqa Najiyah, that there is one group of Muslims who are gonna make it, and everybody is claiming to be that group. Yeah. And everybody becomes spokesman or spokesperson of Islam. Ya akhi, you don't speak on behalf of Allah. You are telling me your understanding of religion. You're not telling me Islam. Islam does not have a clergy. Even if you are the greatest scholars on earth, you're still giving me your understanding of Islam. So we have to train ourselves to say, that's my understanding of Islam, not that's Islam, because that becomes very bad. Because if you say this is Islam, meaning if I differ with you, and I'm in trouble. Yeah. But if you say that's my understanding of Islam, and I will respond with that, that's also my understanding of Islam. And wallahu ya'lamu wa antum la ta'lamun. Allah knows where the truth is. We are seeking the truth and continue to seek the truth until we meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We will never have a monopoly over the truth and grasp it fully and say, that's it, now I have it. And whoever differs with me, then he is in trouble. That's not acceptable. So we're going to have to take it easy and accept this fact. And by the way, focus on the job that Allah has assigned to us, and leave the job that Allah reserved for himself, which we are trying to do. And that's, I find it's a major deviation. Yeah.
I just want to follow up on this. I mean, when we do that, when everybody claim he is the true, or the Firqa Najiyah, or the saved people or something, then that makes the discussion between the whole community impossible. If I have not only that, if I have different understanding of the Imam in our community, when I go there, I will be like singled out. And they will, oh, he is believing in different things. He doesn't believe in our aqidah. He doesn't believe, and this will break the community and create cracks. And nobody, I mean, the cooperation or amr bil ma'ruf or ta'awanu ala al-taqwa will be vanishing from the community. And that's what happened. I mean, you will see some groups together and they have their own masjid, And if you go there, you will be okay, maybe munafiq or kafir, they will call you. That's disaster. That's not what Rasulullah did in his community. Nobody, even in one battle, when somebody, I think, killed somebody because he said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. He said, he just said it to save himself. Rasulullah told him, did you open his heart? So judging people and categorizing ourselves as this group is the best group and following this imam is the best, this is damaging the community.
Very the big very damaging. Unity will disappear, cooperation will disappear, brotherhood will disappear. It's I mean, it's a major damage. I mean, just mind, I mean, don't worry about how the person next to you is praying. Yeah. He's following a different, there is fiqh is very flexible. And at the end of the day, if he's right or wrong, that's not your business. Yeah. Especially if you think that he's wrong and you told him once, that's it. Yeah. And you leave him alone.
Dr. Anushi,
yes. Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Yeah, a lot of the discussion also points to the points that Sister Amina and Brother Muhammad made. It's also related to Ayah 71, which says, Ya Ahl al-Kitabi lima talbisuna al-haqqa bil-batil wa taktumuna al-haqqa wa antum ta'lamun. Basically, why do you present truth with falsehood and conceal which is true? That happens in discussions, even in the masjids, where you're talking to a group that is intolerant of other ideas. They present it as fact, their opinion as fact. They don't tell you that, oh, well, based on the other madhahib, you can do it this way, or you can do it this or that way. Yeah, so it's actually they're behaving. Muslims today are behaving in the way that Ahl al-Kitab behave, as described in this ayah. Yes, and they have the characters of as we read throughout the Quran of Bani Israel. Allah tells us, okay, what Bani Israel did so that we can avoid it. However, a lot of Muslims have those characters, and I ask brothers and sisters in this group, when they read about Bani Israel, to question, okay, are we acting like them? Don't read it as oh, that's them, because when I read the Quran, I see a lot of similarities, unfortunately, with Muslims today and the description of Ahl al-Kitab and the Bani Israel. So another thing also regarding concealing the truth. I mean, it's not only can happen at the masjid or, at work. It can happen between friends. It can happen between a brother and sister. It can happen between a wife and a husband. So we have to make sure that in all our relationships, we, do not play these games. In addition, we have to teach our children, the young ones, because I know a lot of the brothers and sisters have young children, to realize, to have them basically learn this behavior, to not mix, opinion with facts. And when you are giving your opinion, to say, this is my opinion. And that's very essential. It's a very good tool to teach our kids and teach ourselves, and to be aware of at every level in all relationships.
And yeah, it's a long way to go, but you know what? If you add something else to this, it will really seal the deal. Yani. We have a problem, another problem, which is what they call it confirmation bias. Confirmation bias. Very widespread among Muslims, especially in the social media. Confirmation bias means that you read only things that you like. And you read only to the authors that you like. or the sources that you like. And after a while, you become really have that tunnel vision or ghetto mentality. So you can only understand that language, accept only those ideas, and can only deal with those people. If you go out, you become very tense. You can't. You can't because you are in a ghetto. Yes, it's not a ghetto physically, but it is virtual. That seals the deal. I mean, if you have these problems of mixing truth with falsehood and concealing the truth and half truth and mixing opinions with facts, and then you add to that confirmation bias, that now no wonder why we are in this fight. And add to that, which is what do you call it, ta'assub, when you
Intolerance.
Fanatic.
Maybe
Fanatic.
fanatic is closer. Fanatic is someone, like some partisan people who become so obsessed with their party or their faith or their sect or their group or taifa or tribe or etc. To the point that they become intolerant. It might start fanatic, but become intolerant of others. These are major diseases, and major psychological and mental diseases that are holding us back, holding Muslims everywhere back, because it prevents you from being open to different ideas, to be able to give and take, to learn from others, and to grow and improve. Why? Because you have that confirmation bias. You go only to the sites that gives you things that you like to hear, even if they're not true, even if they are soothing you and comforting you, that's fine. Doesn't have to be facts. And the other, even if it is a fact, but it is not convenient, I don't want to hear it. That's very widespread, very widespread in Muslim world. And then with all these intolerance and fanatic idea and closeness of minds, and with people do not read and do not educate themselves, no wonder why families, until this time and age, families are still formed in a very haphazard way. Nobody reads anything about spousal relationship. Nobody reads anything about the other sex. Nobody have any sexual education. Nobody has anything. And then people, they get married haphazardly. And then they raise their children haphazardly. Nobody reads anything about child psychology or about raising, parenting or anything. And then you expect society to be better than what you see.
Okay, Dr. Jazakallah khair. I've been trying to listen to this, and I agree with a lot of stuff you're saying, but sometimes it's, as we say, like it's easier said than done when we try not to judge people or categorize people, because basically, I mean, human nature, we're always based on comparing ourselves to something, because you want to know, like, so Muslims end up comparing to others. So if somebody is not praying and we are praying, we feel good on ourselves. And that's how you kind of get, like, the reference, and we try to see where we stand. And, but then going back, so I think historically, as a Muslim, we always have this, like, the movements of religion in our history, throughout history, is that it always starts from the top down. So we always have like prophets, we have leaders, we have Khalifa, and then we follow, or Sheikh, and then we follow the steps of what they tell us. And that's how historically, as religion and as a people, that's how we raised. And now, if I understand correctly, I think we have to change how we think about our religion, and actually start more like grassroots movements. So basically starting from the bottom up, start on an individual levels, raising our levels of education and knowledge, and then raise our families, and then as a society. So basically we're gonna start from the bottom up, and then elect our leaders, and then get people to elevate the society. And I think that's the issue, is like I see is is why people struggle with this, because they're not used to this. They're used to identifying a leaders or finding somebody, and they just don't want to do the legwork of doing everything themselves. They just want to follow. And then you get those self-appointed leaders where maybe they know a little bit, or they know more than others. As we said, like, you categorize yourself. I know a little bit more than others. I understand the religion a little more. Therefore, I'm self-appointing myself as a leader, even though they might not be qualified to lead. So do we have anything like in the Islam or the teaching is how to teach us to have like a grassroots movements, or do we have like an example to follow that actually this is what happened, or we should start like, because I think this is the biggest struggle, is like if people start doing things on their own, they also don't know, they need guidance too.
Well, you're right. This is very very important point. Unfortunately, there is very almost no precedent of grassroots, because one of the ideas that also became deeply seated in the minds of Muslims is the idea of the leader savior, or the savior leader, Zaim, the one who's going to come and fix our problems. I don't know whether it came from the Mahdi and the thing, or Isa, and then became, now we start waiting for someone now. So we're going to have to get rid of this and put things back on track, which is that this is an individual responsibility, and everybody has to start cleaning around their house. And before doing that, there is no point in talking about societies, because society at the end of the day consists of circles, and each one of us is in the intersection of many circles. There is the circle of work, and the circle of neighborhood, and the circle. There are several circles in which you are at the intersection. And if you're not really doing anything in those circles, you'd better not talking about societies and reforming and changing the world and changing anything. So you're absolutely right. We need the grassroots movement, which is, and we need this to revive this idea that Islam is an individual responsibility, not only in terms of rituals, but even the mission itself is an individual responsibility. It is an individual responsibility. At the end of the day, Allah is not going to hold us accountable as a community or as a group of people. It's going to be everybody is going to be held accountable individually. So we need to promote this idea that this is the mission of Islam. I embraced it. I'm trying to do my best to fulfill it to the best of my ability. And I want you to do the same. It's not like you're going to come and do something to me. It's just for you. It's just take it and move, like at the time of Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, when a person will come to Medina, embrace Islam, and spend a couple of days, and then go back to his tribe. Nobody will tell him that just sit in the Medina and just increase the number, or no, just go back to your circle and your environment and deliver this message and fulfill this mission. We have no other option. If we're going to wait for top down, we're going to wait forever, because it will never happen. This message is not in the best interest of any leader to promote. The message of justice and equality and accountability and transparency and all of this, even in democratic country, they don't like it. Just the law is very strong, and the institutions are strong, and the civic society is strong. Otherwise, every government in the world wants to abuse and to expand its power. But in democratic country, it is being pushed back by the checks and balances, by the strong institution. And we have seen some things happening here, by the strong institutions and by the society itself. So there is no other alternative except to start the grassroots, and don't wait for anybody. Grassroots starts from you. Grassroots movement starts from every individual who received this message and understand it, and start and embrace it, and start that journey and striving to fulfill it to the best of their ability. And then you will meet, your road will cross with others in the way, in the path. But even grassroots movement, it's not like let's wait until we build the grassroots. A grassroots movement comes with circles like this, individual like ourselves, and when who start that journey, and then they find themselves getting together, and then they need to organize. But waiting for something to be established and then joining it, we're gonna wait forever.
It's tied to, Assalamu alaikum. It's tied to also, Dr. Anushi, something you always stress is there's no clergy in Islam. Whereas, we don't have to look to our imams for, all answers. We could, research it ourselves. Last week, we were talking about Zechariah and Maryam. When angels were talking to them, they did not talk back to the angels. They went directly to Allah in their questions with as to how would it be possible for me, in the example of Zechariah, to get a child when he's basically old in age and his wife is old in age. They went directly to Allah. Zechariah went directly to Allah, and in case of Maryam, she's basically a malaika told her, the angels told her, you're going to get a child. She didn't ask how, she didn't ask them, she asked Allah directly. So I think it's also, we need to practice that, undo this concept in our mind that every time we have a question, we need to go to the imam, or we do not think outside what our imam thinks. We could do it ourselves, research it, and find out what is being said, and become the empowered Muslim. There's a lot of discussions on the internet about the empowered patient. Like if someone is sick, you don't go to the doctor and just tell them, hey, what should I do? No, the empowered patient does the research beforehand, and then they can have a good dialogue with the doctor. We've seen many times when the doctors, they have good intentions. They're probably good doctors, but because you went unprepared, you came out with the wrong diagnosis. Mm-hmm. So it's basically encourage the brothers and sisters to become the empowered Muslim, to do your own research, and then talk and I guess questions, bring up questions to the imam, because we don't have the clergy in Islam, alhamdulillah.
If you know something in this religion, you are a scholar in that concept, and there is nobody who has Allahu ya'lamu wa antum la ta'lamun. منها آيات محكمات هن أخرى متشابهات. Yani we have to fix this idea of being very passive and relying on somebody to do the job for us. Even my study of the model of the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam of leadership, I call it he was a leader of leaders. He was not leader of blind followers. Basically, we understand the mission and we understand the goals of Islam. We know where we're heading, and you are leading us, but we are not blind followers. And they practiced this with the Prophet ﷺ, and they discussed and they had different opinion, and he changed his mind. And then that all was training for us, that nobody should come after Rasul ﷺ and make us just blind followers, and we wait for somebody to be the savior and to do things for us. But yes, it is our responsibility. And then if we're going to select a leader, is going to be leader of leaders, meaning that we are not abandoning our mission and our duties and assigning it to him. No, he may have a little bit more responsibility, but we're still there. We're observing, we're monitoring, and we can hold them accountable, and we are still fulfilling our job. So it is major transformation needed in the Muslim mind, starting with the definition of Islam itself, that this is a lifelong mission. And this is a mission with the clear goals and big goals. And people should subscribe to Islam as such. And then they start fulfilling that mission. And then they get together, and Islam has a mechanism and has a model to build that community and have a community with leadership to fulfill the mission in the society at large, not as an alternative to your individual duties. Now you fulfill your mission day in, day out in your environment, and then you join hands with others to fulfill it in the bigger circle. I think we're going to stop here, inshallah.
Jazakallah khair, Dr.
Jazakumullah.
Next Sunday, inshallah, at noon. Assalamu alaikum.
Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
نعم.